Sizwe, may I start?
Please go for it.
Thank you, sir. Officially, Abba. Uyamosha manje ngithi ngiyakubingelela kahle.
Ilama uzwile bathi ne-virus entsha engenile.
I'm tired of these viruses. Trump has done the right thing to take America out of the World Health Organization. I don't know if we'll get to that.
Ngiyamthanda uTrump yazi.
We'll
Get to that.
We'll start on that.
Ngiyamthanda uTrump.
Abba Ayalew Amlak, the Grandmaster of Abakhaliphi Bokukhanya, Usilo Samanzi.
My lord.
I'm honored to have you again. Our sit down last time caused a lot of controversy.
Wangenzela inkinga wena.
Mina.
You made driving around South Africa a difficulty for me.
What mina?
How?
You were the one that was free to speak.
No. You said, I said, but asingayi lapho.
Is it not what you said?
Well.
You know, I had to explain to someone as recently as a few days ago when they were like, hey, lo mfana lo Abba. And I was like, what about him? Uthi amaZulu abelungu. And I was like, no, man, you must listen to the context. And the context is there are many descendants of Dan. And it's not just isolated to the Zulu nation. Many others have got descendants. If you look at me as an example, my maternal grandfather was an Indian man, Amin. So if ever I became something big in the Zulu nation, there's a certain group of the Amin family that can say that is one of ours. Now you can't deny that. So much if someone says, I'm a Zulu, Mandia, you have to listen to the context of what was being said.
We show kanjani because honestly, yes, people took it out of context. And I'm not sitting here to defend what I said. I will still say it. There are many descendants of Robert Dan Gwazulu. There are many descendants of Shepstein Gwazulu. There are many descendants of Fabian Gwazulu. Ufebane, batu Ufebane. Upobane manikama lakhe. But his name was Fabian. There were many. But there are as many descendants of Harry Smith kwaXhosa. There are as many descendants of white people kwaXhosa. KwaXhosa sinabo January. Sinabo Petros. Sinabo Blom.
Boy.
Oh boy. It's as rife kwaXhosa. I even made an example that day yokuthi even eLimpopo koBopedi there's a whole nation called Maepa. Maepa are the descendants of a white man who came on a horse from Swaziland, a Portuguese man who came from Swaziland on horseback and settled in Limpopo and fathered children. And they became Maepa because he was named Maepa Ditar because he was a herbalist. So his trade, makafika lapha ya, bekalapha abantu ngemithi. Abantu bamiza ke ntate Maepa Ditar. So all his children became Maepa. To say now it was solely pointed or an attack on the Zulus as it was made out to be, we have to question the listening capacity of people. You know in English, I've said this before, and I'm going to be pointed out as crazy again. But I've said this before. Listen, that's English. Luister, Afrikaans. But let's focus on the English. Listen, because I'm not very fluent in Afrikaans. Ngazi Afrikaans yasestrateni yasePitori mina. Abo kada daman daso. But in English, listening, there is partially listening. Right? And it's perfectly acceptable in English. No, I was partially listening. The fact that there is a word for something, it means it's part of a culture. Partially listening. It's English. Selective listening. So I was listening to what you were saying, but I actually chose what I want to hear.
Yes.
Selective listening. No, I was listening in passing. passive listening. So there's many ways to define listening in English. Ngesintu, I like to use the Nguni term, Zulu, Xhosa term. NgesiZulu bathi la, lela. La, le, la. La, le, la. So we are here, but I'm telling you about something there.
Yes.
Here. La, le, la. La, le, la. So we are bringing a distant reality into immediate reality. You need to be here.
Present.
You can't partially listen. You can't passively listen. You can't listen in passing. Because whatever is there, we are bringing it here. La, le, la. NgesiXhosa sithi ma, stop. Me, la. Stop and wait for it to come. Don't move around and trying to find it. Don't get into my word, into my mouth while I'm trying to speak. Sukundiphipha ndisanya.
Sungena emlonyeni.
Ay. Ungangiphiphi ngingaqeda ukudunusa.
Hey, snap. Okay, let's take it back.
So, listening nokumamela akufani. Abantu abamameli, they tend to listen in the different categories
Selectively.
of listening.
So the title for today, in the spirit of selective listening, is AmaXhosa and Amapedi are also white people. Or did I not?
Maswati, Batswana,
Masilalela.
Basotho siyafana. It's rife. It's everywhere. It's not a Zulu phenomena.
I wonder if I want to go into this. I know you want to speak about Trump. Is it a curse? Is it a culture? Is it the environment we find ourselves in where everyone is chasing clickbait, thumbnail, the headline, the TikTok short, the clip, did you hear what he said? And you're like, but what was the context? No one cares about that. We enjoy the hype of this looks like it was a great part. Give me a shot. I don't want to have the bottle of water. Ngifuna i-shot igazi lithi
Ingitatazelisi basho amandebele bathi watatazela angeke ungibethe watatazela angeke ungibethe. Here's the problem, abantu batatazela, and this is why they miss the target all the time. Ingathi bekasimamele Tembe umlotsho masikhuluma lapha endlini izolo. Ngithi kuTembe ngolanyama, I'm realizing a problem, and it's been there for a long time. It's not a new revelation, but in this context, ngithi, people would rather mimic external personalities and create personas for themselves rather than actually expressing themselves. Because being themselves is viewed as societally unacceptable. It's not the in thing, it's not the cool thing, if we could use that colloquial term, you know. It's not the cool thing to be in. You won't be part of the jocks or the cheerleaders in the high school context. So people would rather, and it all goes back to I'm going to bring it back stupidly to a God concept. It all goes back to an idol. We used to have idols who developed into role models, who developed into icons, who became stars, who became now what we shape ourselves after, right? What is the meaning of role and what is the meaning of model? A role is, if we had to stage a drama now, and you were supposed to be a police captain who was corrupt, you have to play a role.
Character.
It's a character. You are not a police captain who is corrupt. But you have to play that role. You have to get into the psychology of a corrupt police captain. It's a role. It's an act. What is a model? A model displays something. It's not really it, but it's a displaying. It's displaying something. It's showing off something. It's a representation of something. So, what is a role model? If it is not a characteristic personality that you create modeled after a certain individual. So basically, you are not yourself.
Correct.
And then they had to change that. They say, no. It's an icon, something you look up to. Now, if I look up to something, my mind, if I respect Penuel Mlojwa and I look up to Penuel Mlojwa, subconsciously, psychologically, I'm going to try and emulate Penuel Mlojwa. I'm not myself still.
That is correct.
It all goes back to idol worship. What is your God? I said, in a stupid way, I'm going to bring it back to the God consciousness. Who is God and what is God for you? Right? And if you can answer that, you'll understand that God is the object of your focus. God is not some spiritual entity in the sky. God is not something that created heaven and earth as we'd like to believe he did or it did. God is the object of your focus. That which you focus on is your God.
Comes God.
That's why you wake up every morning. That's why you go through your day. That's all you think about. The friends you make remind you of that reality. The places you go make that reality a reality.
Attention capital.
Uqedile.
God is the object of your focus, where some people say, stop worshiping alcohol, stop worshiping girls, stop worshiping social media. You have made gods of these things that you focus your energy on. At some point, people would focus their energy on the sun, that being their god, Ra, or whatever term you like.
I'm going
the sky,
exactly.
the stars.
Exactly. Somebody's worshiping you right now.
They follow me.
Somebody's worshiping me. When I'm going to say this, somebody's sitting there and watching this thing and saying, everything that this man says is gospel truth. Someone out there. And I hope this is not the message I'm sending out there. Mina bafowethu nguntsangweni. Ngizibhemela insangu. And you've been to my house.
Yes. Thank you, by the way, for inviting me to your home.
You've seen the traffic ekhaya.
Yes.
I'm a loner. Ngihlalela nezinja zami mina Hulk laba nomsuthu laba. Do you understand? I'm not trying to get a following. I happen to fall in front of a camera and I spoke. But somebody out there is shaping their lives according to what I'm saying. Right? Let's talk about that a little bit. Icon worship, celebrity worship. Because now it's no longer role models or sekunoma celebrity. And can I say this to the camera, not to you?
Go for it.
Angisona celebrity bagwe. To South Africa, I am not a celebrity. I'm just a man who happens to know something.
Yes.
Not everything. Something.
And wants to share the little bits that they have.
That's all. Right? Here's the thing. It may happen that whatever I'm sitting here talking about, once the cameras are off and I jump in my car and drive home, that chapter of my life is over until the next time I'm in front of a camera. It may happen that this spirituality and this cultural consciousness and this Africanness is only an act. And somebody out there is shaping their lives according to what I said on camera.
An act.
And they acted out, an act, and they want to act it out. A lot of us talk about spirituality, but there's nothing spiritual about our everyday lives. A lot of us talk about culture, and there's nothing cultural about our daily lives. A lot of us talk about all these concepts of ascension and this and that. Hardly none of us can sit for 10 minutes and meditate. Social media is dangerous. I personally know that some people out there may think I'm a saint. Some people may think out there that Abba, at any time you find him, uzomthola. You've been to my house.
Yes.
You've seen me with my guards down. Ngiyayihlanyela mina. And I prefer to live my life as honest as I can. I can't speak for anyone else. If I sit here and say, I have no reason to fight white people, I have no reason to fight the idea or the concept of colonialism, because colonialism is colonialism across the board. I can say that because I don't have a problem with white people. My problem with white people is when a white person comes to me with white privilege, ask the couple of white people who've come across me with that white privilege. Omunye ngamfake fridge nama Coca-Cola. And this is gospel truth. You can take that to the bank. Angisabi mlungu, angithandi mlungu, I don't worship white men. But I don't see color, I see human behavior. That's me. And I choose to live my life as honest as I can. I won't sit here and say white people are the enemy and then go home and live next door to one. Every morning, hi John, how are you this morning? Oh, great day. Bless you, my friend. And then I go back and sit in front of a camera and tell you how much white people stole our land. I will never do that. Not me.
Those are shots. Those are shots.
No, they are not shots.
They're definitely shots. There are people that those words are aiming for. That
No, I don't know
taking
those
their heads
people.
off.
I'm responding to people who've been saying mina. I
We
favor
all know
white
the people that you're shooting right now.
What do you mean? I favor white people. Mean I'm an agent paid by government to represent Abelu. I'm not taking shots at anybody. I'm taking shots at those who say mina. That's what I stand for. And I'm telling you, Uguti, not me. Right? I live as honestly as I can, and I'm not here to promote myself. I'm not a brand. The problem here is idol worship does not speak about the reality of the idol. Let me give you an example. Here's an idol. Let's call it a tribal media house.
Yes.
And we have to worship and pray to him every 3 hours of the day, right? What happens for the 2 hours, 59 minutes in between when nobody's there? Is that bottle of water alive? Or is that bottle of water trying to work out our situation and our problems and our requests? Or is it just sitting there idle?
The idol is idle.
The idol itself is idle. It has no eyes, no mouth, no ears. It can't do anything for itself, right? It's an idol. Now, you are shaping your life according to this individual who appears in front of a camera. Off camera, what happens? Omunye uzomangala ngelinye ilanga ahlangana nami eTops ngiyothenga savana.
Sure.
At how? Abba, I never thought, Abba, hey, bakwethu mina ngiphuza isavana. Don't be shocked muhlangana nami eTops one day.
Sure.
And then now your whole world is going to be twisted upside down.
It's a fact.
Because Abba, eTopsy, Savannah, I never said I don't drink alcohol. And I'm telling you today, good mina ngiyiphuzela Savannah bakwethu.
Sure.
And I love gin. Now one day, uzongithola ngiphethe iglass le gin. Uta inamanga le.
Yeah.
Yonke lento bekayikhuluma amanga, because now I'm holding a bottle of gin in my hand. I never said angiphuzi gin. And I'm going to remind you of this day when I said ngizithandela gin mina bakwethu.
Savannah.
Savannah. Apple juice.
Oh, yes.
Right?
I made this mistake because we all are meant to be on a journey of growth. The first time I'd visit Ubaba Joshua Maponga, I was shocked. Not as much, because I don't get shocked by a lot, but I was shocked by how he lives. Because based on the brand that you're speaking about that is portrayed, we have these assumptions of how he lives, what his family looks like, and I did appreciate how normal, or what we call normal, he is. But also a part of me was kind of sad because I wished he was more performative in his real life. I made that mistake. One, you speak about people not being their true selves. I know I've put a mental note of Trump. How do we find our true selves? Number one. And in that question, do you think a big part of the mental breakdown of so many people, in particular Africans, is because they are constantly forced to perform a character that is not even linked to who they are and used to be? I have to play the white man from Britain. And when I have my tea, and how long do I perform while my brain, my body, even the food I eat, everything about it is rejecting and rebelling against this, because they don't understand what's going on. They're like, how long will you play a character, a psychopathic character that we're waiting for you to stop acting and go back to who you are? How do we find self?
Me and you are in a prison, right? Maximum security prison. We're serving 25 to life, right? Me and you. You are in the general population. I'm in solitary confinement. Who is in prison?
Are we not both in prison? Is the person in solitary confinement in prison by themselves?
Okay.
What defines prison?
Now, I'm in prison, solitary confinement. You in prison, general population, but we are both in prison, right?
Yes.
Okay. Who is the prisoner? Is it me? Is it you? I'm in solitary confinement in prison. You are in prison. Who is the prisoner? Who's the one who has to be here and has no choice to be anywhere else but to be here? Otherwise, they're not getting paid at the end of the month. Is it the prisoner or the one watching the prisoner? The prisoner, the one in solitary confinement has nowhere to go. I'm in solitary confinement. I'm stuck here. The one in prison, general population, has nowhere to go outside these walls. You could be at a movie with your friends. You could be at a bar. You could be with your wife. You could be with your children. You could be on holiday. You could be anywhere in the world. But you're sitting here watching me in solitary confinement. So who is the prisoner?
How do we define prison and freedom? Someone sent me a video, because I like calling myself a chimpanzee, of a chimp chilling on I don't know if it was a lifeboat or something, a lifebuoy, chilling, sipping on a juice with shades. And the caption was, chimpanzees are human beings that try to avoid tax. And I was like, yeah, these are my people. They don't have to buy clothes. They don't have to go to school. They don't have to. So how do we define prison? How do we define freedom?
It goes back to your question. I'm trying to answer your question.
I understand.
With the mental breakdown in society, what causes it? Prisoners are living the illusion of freedom, while the free are existing in a state of imprisonment.
The free are existing in a state of imprisonment. I don't understand that second part.
There was a joke some couple of years ago, or I saw on social media, a video of one guy, phone yakala, work. Good morning. How are you, sir? No. Dandy, all is good. No, thank you, man. Thank you. No, we'll be more than willing to help you. What's your problem? Okay, thank you. Phone rings again. A friend. Yo, my nigga, what's up? Yeah, man, you know what's up. It's all going down, man. Drop the phone. Phone rings again. Mother. Yes, madam. No, madam. No. Okay. This is one person. 3 different personalities on the phone. Who is this person? What is freedom? What is imprisonment? Right now, me and you are within 4 walls. And we cannot get out of these 4 walls until what we are here to do is done.
Yes.
Are we not incarcerated by our own choices? We made the choice to come here today. We made the choice to have this interview. We cannot leave this room until what we decided to do is done. We're incarcerated by choice. We are prisoners of our own choices.
It's like meditating in a room, like solitary confinement. Being on a mountain by yourself for days.
It's up to you. You can be. I've taken people to mountains. I've taken people to caves where there's no sound, just birds and nature. And people have told me it's so loud here. And then you ask yourself, what's loud? It's complete silence. If me and you keep quiet, all we can hear is what we're supposed to hear, birds. But they felt a whole lot of noise in their ears. I've taken people to a mountain. Sahlalas fastile for more than 3 days. I'll give you this example. It was a group of 3 people. One didn't know their father, had no clue of their father's family or who they were, right? The other one was trying to figure out who they are. What is their gift? And the other one was just there. Right? 3 people. After the whole process in the mountain where there's nobody there, and when I'm there, you sit there, everybody minds their own business. I'm here for my own things as well, you know? The first one comes back running to me. You. Hey, what's wrong? I'm being chased by elephants. Nigga, there's no elephants here. No. I swear I saw a group of elephants chasing me. There are no elephants here. Go back.
Nanibheminsango-ke lapho kuleyo ndawo.
No, sasifastile. No food, no nsangu, no nothing.
Okay.
Hlala lapha, buyela lapha. He comes back a second time. Yo, nazi le Ndlovu zibuyile futhi. But now there's people amongst them. Ngithi ndoda, go back and talk to those people and ask them ukuthi obani.
Yes.
And then these people told him ukuthi who they are. Right? And then later on, coming down from the mountain, later on, a confirmation is received. Ngabathatha ngabasa to a teacher of mine. Right? Esangena bathe wena wawulandelwa indlovu eziningi kanje. Okay, confirmation. Ihlanya ngelinye ilanga, he's standing in a taxi rank la ePitori Marabastad. A madman. Uza kuye gijima. Ya wena ngukusabi noma ungaba wakwaNdlovu wena nginandaba nawe Ndlovu. Only to discover, yes, very truly, yes, ingane yakwaNdlovu. But nobody told him. I did not know. I'm not taking credit for this.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, sahlele entabeni, it happened to him, not through me. I'm not taking credit for this. So what I'm saying is, we can go entabeni senzeni. What is prison? Because lowesibili, wabuya la discover ukuthi no, his gift is herbs, imithi, ukudla, unobukudla. I didn't tell him that, he discovered it himself. Lowesithathu ke manje, we're talking about freedom and imprisonment, right? Lowesithathu, ubuye esithi yo, I've never been so hungry in my life. This is a waste of time. When are we going home? One received answers about ancestry. One received answers about their life's purpose, and the other one came back hungry. All three of them were not eating. What happened to these two's hunger? And what happened to this one's revelation? Do you see that? Who was in prison, who was free here? It will answer your question, what is freedom? And what is imprisonment? How many people are walking around every day, living in their houses, going to work, coming back, going to work, coming back, and they hate every moment of it?
Yes.
There's a joke esinokuyenza la nabantu abam, on your way to Pretoria West, kune tunnel lapha yana Pretoria West lapha. Lapha etunnelini yazi tunnel culture, pip amahuta. There are certain times of the day, noma ungayishaya ihuta kayi 10,000, nobody's going to respond. Maybe one. Mawuthi ubheka isikhathi, oh, it's working hours. Abantu bane stress.
Yeah.
Come back at the same tunnel. Sekugcwele after work, when people are going home, uzothi pip kuthi pip pop bona uthi ye kumnandi kuba setunnelini. People are going home. Why are you so stressed when you're going to work? Why are you so relieved when you come home? 90% of you don't want to be there.
Yes.
Are you not in a prison? Penuel imlojwa, Tribal Media House nangumsayinisa contract namhlanje siyakuqasha uzoba i-host ye Penuel show.
Sure.
Contract. Penuel uthatha contract ye BMW. This is how much I'll be making a month ngicela leya moto.
Sure.
I've witnessed this Emedunsa, which is now known as what?
Sefako
Makhatu University, Medical University. I saw that. My mother was a professor there. So one day I was attending a graduation ceremony. So immediately, mawuphuma with graduation ceremony, the path to the parking is flanked Mercedes, Audi, BMW,
Yes.
ini, Mini Cooper, what, Biza, house, ini, property, ini, what, clothing account, what, lined.
Yes.
These new graduates who were struggling through God knows how many years of studying medicine and through how many struggles of being through that medical whatever course bayenzayo. Now nasi certificate samba kwethu nayi Mercedes nayi PM nayi Audi yo nayi indlu eSandton nayi indlu kuphi nayi indlu nazi impahla Louis Vuitton nazi impahla kuphi. In South Africa, the moment you get your medical degree, you're employed.
Yes. You're also given a fancy card from banks
The
before you get your salary.
Abo Absa nabo FNB sebala. They're already here.
Don't forget Investec.
It's sebala. The moment you get your certification, you're employed. So these children, I've got the right to say children, abantwana kimi laba graduates laba. These children, I laba baphase before mina ke. Ngisho laba bezemva kwami. These children get out of the auditorium into debt. Out of the auditorium straight into debt.
Correct.
That's why medical aid fraud is so rife. They have to pay for these Mercedes Benz. They have to pay for these houses. They have to pay for these expensive schools.
They will give you treatments you don't need.
Because they have to mark up that price. Right? Now, are they not in prison for the rest of their lives? You're telling me these young medical doctors are free because they drive big Brabus Mercedes Benz?
36-hour rotation.
36-hour rotations on call at any time? Do you think they're free? I watched my mother. I hardly had a mother because she was always at work.
They have to declare people dead. That's another aspect.
They have to watch people die.
Correct.
Lo muntu kumele abuye ekhaya. Na stress sokuthi I tried everything and handle us abantwana who know nothing about that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying my mother did a bad job. I'm talking about the reality of these people's professions. My mother did a great job raising me. I am what I am today because of that woman. And I couldn't have been any better on my own.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been. My God in living flesh is that woman.
Hey.
But she was hardly there. Her profession kept her occupied. Right? These young kids now. Now, that was old school. Umama. That was old school. These young kids now, when my mother was in hospital, in ICU, before she passed, I was there. At a time where doctors were changing shifts, young doctors. And one of them was shaking and panicking because she had administered the wrong medication to a patient who's on life support. And when you listen to her reasoning, is that she's been getting calls, her friends, Sebayamshiya, kuyu artis, for a weekend away. You can put one and one together. Her excitement disturbed her concentration. A patient on life support was injected with the wrong medication. Now she's giving over the task of monitoring this patient to another young doctor who just came. If anything happens, please, gata lo muntu. I made a mistake as a medical doctor. This is a life or death situation. I'm going to leave this mess I created.
Yes.
Sesiplome nabangani bam phansi komthunzi welanga
Wena.
kufa umuntu. I
That's brown dash, ne?
I administered the wrong medication. Who is in prison Umgroove, bumnandi. How many people sacrifice everything just to be at a DJ Fresh gig?
Yes. Including their bodies, their private parts, their sanity, their state of consciousness in terms of drug induction.
Groove culture, bumnandi, is that not a prison?
And it's an addictive prison. You live your whole week suffering through the tunnel and the stress to try and escape to that thing that is also imprisoning you in some way. How do you find self? Is it silence? I wanted to say this, sorry, and I apologize for mentioning something personal to him. My brother Penson speaks about how he hates being alone and he's scared of being alone with his thoughts. And I know he's not the only one. Because my suggestion would be to find yourself, get as far away from the noise, the external noise, so that you can silence external and listen internal to the noise. But now you start finding that there are people that are like, I want to go to the external because it drowns out the internal, because the internal might tell me things I don't want to hear.
Like I said, I've taken people to the most quietest places in South Africa. When you're there, if you hear a car, it would be about 4 hours in between, right? The rest is just birds and wind. It's so quiet. If mina now was kulumi, akunanexo izwayo. But one person I've taken there came back saying, it's so loud.
So loud.
Now, you ask yourself, what was loud? Because externally, there was no sound. Too many people are afraid to go inside them. I had a camp last year with a group of women, and I asked them a question. Oguti, do you remember the first mask you put on? Because that's where the frustration is. Going back to that mental illness now, that problem we have in society that is very rife today. And I'm going to speak this as inyanga bagwetu. Psychologically, we are not well as a society, as a community, as abantu abamnyama. Siphilanga like handa. We are functional, but asiphilanga like handa. Major factor hiyo leyo nto leyo ukuthi, do you remember the first mask you put on? It bleeds into one of the things traumas and developmental traumas, to be specific, And by developmental traumas, I mean ukukhula kwethu, ukhule kanjani? What are the factors and what are the realities around ukukhula kwakho? Those are your developmental traumas, or developmental factors that may lead to trauma or to another direction. I like to place things in to make it simple for myself to understand in 7-year intervals, right? From birth to 7 years old, whatever happens to you determines how you judge home, safety, comfort. Now, if 0 to 7 years old, family was in turmoil, parents are always fighting, there's always this tension.
Your dad is not around.
Your dad is not around, and you are never going to trust any intimate relationships.
Formative years, early childhood development, ECD.
You are never going to trust anything intimate, because the most intimate part of you was in strain.
At the foundation.
By 7 years old, this is where children start school and start leaving the home and blah, 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 blah. That child now has to learn to work with other kids around them. Now you are learning social skills. But because you are fucked up in those developmental years, a child's social skills become stunted. You find children who don't want to speak to other children, children who stay behind when others are playing, children who get bullied by others, children who bully others. right? And then you find people, psychologists or people, but no, we have to deal with the children, and we have all these children foundations and children solution. No, children are not the problem. The problem started there, lapha ekhaya. How did this child, ukhuliswe kanjani lo mntwana lo? What created this monster? Because the child is not a monster. This bottle of water is clean water. It's unopened. It's still sealed. Yimi engizoyivula ngifake orosi ngithi ibe orange. Or yimi engizoyithatha ngithi ngifake alpirim ibe purple bese ngiyafa. Angithi. So what created the monster in the child? Because that child makafike crash. Either one uzoba antisocial. And antisocial can manifest in isolation or bullying.
Yes.
Or thieving. It's going to be behavioral.
Sure.
But now that child from 7 to 14 years old has to deal with that. And if that's not dealt with by 14 years old, that child, by that time, trust me. How many people have you heard saying, I started off in the streets at 12 years, at 13. I had my first murder at 13. I stabbed my first person at 15, at 13, at 12.
We've also got a high pregnancy rate in this country.
Okay, I'm a pregnancy during those years.
Yes. You know, you're making me wonder if government... I don't like politicians and government, but I use them as the so-called leadership of the country. I wonder if they should be doing more in those early years, especially for kids that don't have fathers, where the parents are drug addicts or alcohol abusers, where we start focusing maybe on kids at high school. You know, we have this high school thing, that high school is glamorous, boarding school, and where if all of us as a society, the courts, parents, the neighbors, look at kids from the age of 0 to 7 and say, all of us collectively, including government, will create the most loving, most productive space for every child. So that by the time they're 7, they're like, I know love. Whether my father was there or not, whether my mom was angry or not, but our neighbors, everyone would make sure that, how old are you? I'm 6. Let me give you a hug. Here's something. Eat this. Wear that, so that this child is like, I know love, so that they're not craving that love from the village in various ways.
Beautiful.
Moving forward.
A beautiful idea. Beautiful. It won't work.
Hit me.
Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. How many children have been through that system? How many of them do you know that are successful today?
I was going past the Oprah Winfrey School the other day, and I found myself asking a similar question. Where are the Oprah Winfrey graduates in government, in parliament, creating jobs, creating NPOs? Apparently, a lot of them, by the way, end up going overseas to go ply their trade, which almost means they are being
not a
developed
lot of
in
them,
mind here and there.
And being exploited. But that's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know the stories of the Oprah Winfrey, of the children, child trafficking and molestations, and I'm not going to go into that.
I think there were accusations. People can go and look that up. We're not saying anything.
We're not saying anything. You can go and look for yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an investigative officer. I've heard.
Sure.
So, what happens to those children? My approach is this. It's very radical, but this is my approach. Let's deal with the adults. It's the adults that are fucked up, not the children. You are going to expect to Penuel to give a random 6-year-old child a random hug when Penuel is still dealing with his addictions. You are going to expect to Theodros Amlak to love a stranger's child when he himself stabbed his wife this morning. In South Africa, we have a serious problem. And I've got shocking stats. Yazi namhlanje ngikubhalele lezi zinto. Cabangile ngathi lo ngombhalela ama stats. In South Africa right now, this is 2001, 2004 years. 42% of children live with their mothers without fathers. 42% of children in 2021
In 2021, 2001.
Yeah.
Not 2001.
No, 2021 askis.
Okay.
Manje izolo lokho.
Sure.
2021. 42% of children fatherless. They only live with their mother. 20% have neither mother or father. 31.7% black children live with their biological fathers. That means 72% of our children ababazo baba babo bagwetu in black communities. 72% of our black children don't know their fathers. 51% of colored children live with their biological fathers. That means 49% of colored children don't know their fathers, or don't live with their fathers at least. 86% of Indian and Asian children live with their biological fathers. Only 20% don't know their fathers. 80% of white children live with their biological fathers. Statistically, we're doing very bad as a black nation with our melanin intelligence intact.
You have a whole lot of other notes there.
Yeah. The impact of this.
No, there's a reason I'm asking.
And
we can
almost
almost shut this episode down and only speak about this for the rest of the time.
Because it's lento.
Would you be fine with that if we don't get to the other notes?
Yeah.
I'm asking.
No, it's fine. Perfect.
I need you to be comfortable. I know the audience won't be, but it just
perfect.
means we need to sit again.
Yeah.
So I wanted you to give your views on Trump. We're not going to speak about that. I wanted you to expand on what you meant by and if we speak colonialism, you want colonialism across the board. We can't only speak about white colonialism. So I've got those as notes if we get to sit again. And I know you've got other notes that you've raised and we had other things we needed to speak about. I'm happy. Look, if it takes 5 minutes, it's fine. Then we carry on. But I'm happy for us to finish the rest of this episode speaking just about this. And because you raised this now, you're asking me to engage, which I know the audience also hates when I talk, but it's okay. Will you allow me?
No, you have to talk.
Will you allow me?
You have to.
Okay.
You have to. I
want to start personal and then, let me start stats. Stats and then personal, and then I want to speak family structure, and then I want to speak leadership, if you'll allow me. So leadership is politics and it's also traditional, of which I wanted you to mention something about Zulu and maybe some of the other kings and chiefs we have as the structure, the role models that we have. Family being the breakdown of the family. Of course, this is this and how we fix our families. My personal experience and then stats. Let me start with stats because I hope this will be brief and quick.
And good stats, please go on Google, write yourself, statistics of fatherless children in South Africa. You can choose whatever date.
Yeah.
This is just 2001. And this is not Abba Ayalew's stats.
Yes.
I'm just trying to point that out.
So the one thing I say to politicians, number one, is we must be very careful of these stats. And we were privileged to have Ntate Padi Lihuhla, who used to be the statistician general in the past. We need to be very careful of stats. Steve Kompela says stats are like a bikini. They show everything, but sometimes not the juiciest parts. Stats are meant to help us solve problems, find the gaps, allocate resources. And the reality is, I can speak this anecdotally, and for many of us who are black, who know your extended families, a lot of fathers are not in the home. I'm not even going to dispute this at all. But when we do these stats, again, we're going back to selective listening, lalela, mamela. Now, that's listening omlomo, but there's also selective reading and headlines and clickbait. Part of this conversation needs to be as deep and extensive as possible because we need to start by asking, why is the black father not in the home? And we need to be honest. There's a very easy answer of colonialism, apartheid, our fathers went to the mines. Sure, And that's plausible. We must speak about it. But in
It is
speaking
true,
about
but
it,
it's not the only truth.
sure, we must speak about it and then explain, how do we remedy? Is your father working in the mines? No.
No.
Okay.
So why is he not the home?
So
now?
why is he not in the home? The one part is that, of which this also links to me personally. I have got children, of which if you were to ever do stats on their homes, I am not there. So they would add to these numbers. Penuel, and people accuse me of this on social media. When a Penuel, you're going around creating fatherless homes, of which then the assumption is the homes are broken, the homes are dysfunctional, my children are traumatized.
You must understand my point when I said fatherless
Yes.
children. I said children who don't even know.
So
A father, a child who grows up with their mother but knows the father who is there and involved,
Yes.
that child's not fatherless.
So those become the debates, right? Because these stats.
No, but then come on. What does father? Isilungu ngathi siyasdida.
Sure.
Asithi ingane engenayihlo.
So these stats that you are reading, because I've read them year in, year out, they cannot ask, especially in Ganena 3, 4, they can't ask them, do you know your father? Where's your father? They do them at a very surface level. So they do these census where they ask the mom, does dad live here? No. Okay, fatherless. Do you live with your dad at school? No. Okay, fatherless. The other measure they use is birth certificate, which today we have unabridged. Is there a name? There's no name. What I wanted to add, because I'm going to go personal, and I'm going to allow you to attack, criticize, analyze. What I said to them, because I was speaking to politicians, because they were speaking about birth certificates at the time. The fathers were not there at the hospital, and the fathers are not on the birth certificates. And I said, we are black people. We understand the socioeconomic issues. There are many not valid per se, but understandable reasons why the dad was not there and why his name's not on the birth certificate. The guy was absent. The guy never wanted the child. Now we have to go into the other more difficult ones. This woman's never told the guy that she was pregnant. He doesn't know. Angithi, this is what I'm saying. For the rest of the episode, we need this.
Iceberg. The iceberg concept. Iceberg. This is what you see above the ocean level.
That's the bikini. That's Steve Kompela.
That's a bikini. But actually, the iceberg is this big underneath, right? That's what killed the Titanic. Yes. I'm not one to base my facts or to base my worldview on statistics. I mentioned these statistics because they are public record. Hence, I said, anybody who wants to go and see them can go on internet and find them for themselves. I'm not part of Inland, the Human Science Research Council. I'm not part of that, right? But these stats are alarming in their inaccuracy. In their inaccuracy, they are alarming. Forget the stats. Nginyanga mina personally. Angithi ubhalile la point personally.
Yes.
Personally mina nginyanga. In the years I've practiced my trade, let me not go too far back. Let me just go last year. And not too far back last year. Into ayizolo le. How many homes I had to go out siyohlala esigangeni siyoqoqa amacala wekhaya. How many inhlawulo I had to cross from this family to that family, from that family to that family, to fix lezo zinto lezo. Now, it all starts with this. Umuntu uyafika endumbeni yami une problem. Hayi thokoza mkhulu ngizohlola. Okay, uzohlola, right. Ngicela isibongo, igama lesibongo. Hayi mina nguPenuel. Okay, Penuel wakwabani? Hayi wakwamlotshwa. Okay, umama, hayi umama uyu umlotshwa. Okay, ubabakho no baba ngimazi. Mele mina ngichitha amathambo la. Ngixolele. Angina password yakini.
Yes.
Ngine password yakabo mama.
Yes.
I'm going to be very, 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 very unpopular again. There's a notion that's going around. It's been going around for some years now. And it's quite frankly creating the biggest chaos in the country. There's songs written about it now. Ney'nyanga ziyazicula lezo ingoma. Ngumama lo ondizalayo, ngumama lo. Kube nale angalilu mama, angalila xa endibona ndinje. Mama yo ibuhlungu lengulo mama. There's so many songs ezikhuluma ngomama, even in the traditional healer's perspective. Now you must ask yourself, when did this mama exaltation begin? Was it always there? Is it a new thing? Why is this mama focus? Bagwethu, I'm going to be very, very unpopular now. And I'm going to say this. Mfoka mlocho, awuhlobene nomama wakho. You are not related to your mother. You can never be related to your mother. Ngoba lesibongo esithi mlotshwa akusona esika mama wakho, esika baba wakhe. So everybody othi unesibongo has to trace back to amen.
Amen. That is correct.
Hayi mina ngisebenzisa isibongo sika mama uDaki, umama wakho akanasibongo. Umama wakho akanasibongo. Umama wami libhele because ubaba wakhe ngubhele.
That's correct.
Did you get that? Umama libhele because ubaba wakhe ngubhele. So if I'm going to call myself ubhele, I'm not calling myself ngomama. Ngizibiza ngendoda ezala umama.
Correct.
And leyo ndoda ingizala ngihlobene naleya ndoda. In his bloodline, in his luans, esendeni lakhe angikho.
Yes. I wanted to say when you spoke about umama no baba that we're very big on the earth, but not the seed that was planted in that earth. So it's difficult to trace where you come from because the earth, the egg, we understand, but it's the seed where we figure out exactly what plant you are, where you come from.
And some monkey, some educated nincompoop, some boy uzobhala ku-comment athi he's contradicting himself. Last begati we must worship women. Now he's saying, hey, mama this, mama that. No. Wena une complex ekhanda lakho yokulisina ungamameli. Right? So complex yakho is not for me to entertain or to stand for or to defend. Ngithi mina umama wakho akanasibongo, awuhlobene nomama wakho. Nobody is related to their mother. Right? Isibongo sika mama wakho esika babakhe.
Correct.
And ubabakhe akazali wena.
Yes.
Abantu bathi no idlozi elikhulu elakubo mamakho. You are misleading abantu. Because they come endumbeni zethu ngesibongo sika mama and then expect us to perform miracles to trace your origin. I don't know you. You don't know yourself. Ngiyothi ngichitha amathambo ngichitha ini ngoba ngiyochitha ngesibongo sakubo mamakho ngiveza indaba zakubo mamakho and you have nothing to do nalezo indaba wena.
It's not your seed.
La mathambo engizowachitha la have nothing to do nagini or wena. Abekho abantu bakini la. Right? Now, uzwa abantu bathi no mina ngithwasele idlozi lakubo mama. Uthwasele idlozi ongahlobani nalo bakwethu. We are confusing people and misleading.
I'm trying to help you because I don't want to offend anyone as well. You're trying to look at a fruit and judge it by the soil
it grew in.
The seed was planted in, but you don't know the seed of the fruit. This is nature now. We're speaking nature. We're not speaking gender dynamics, men, women.
No, it's nature.
We're speaking a seed that was planted in a garden, and you're trying to
deny the origin.
This tree is a banana tree because the soil that was used. It doesn't work like that.
It's
it works
Limpopo
on the seed.
Soil, so it's not a banana, it's a Limpopo.
Because of the soil. but we don't know the seed.
Come
but
on.
we must know what fruit
Then
this is.
asingabizi banana ka sibizi limpopo. Imango ngoba imango siyazi ize namapotokisi angithi. Asibizi Portugal ke siyekela ukuyibiza imango. Because ize namapotokisi angithi. And then yaplantwa emanguza le emashanganini ebuthonga. This is why there's a place called Mangoes. It's mangoes. Mangoes is mangoes. The Portuguese got there and planted mangoes. Now, because now they planted their mangoes there, the place is called Manguza. Now, if I go there with a banana tree and plant it there, suddenly the banana is going to be mangoes.
It's a mango. According to them, because I'm taking my mother's.
Sugar.
But if you'll allow me, I want to go back to the stats because we need to speak about these stats because.
So, sorry,
sure.
To understand, when I say fatherless,
yes,
I'm saying children who have no idea.
I'm disputing that from you. I understand. And I'm disputing it because Njobangisho, I've read these stats over and over, and I'm saying the way they collect them, because they report on them. And if you read an article saying these children don't know who their fathers are, I'm going to say, look, I've gone and found out how they do the research. Someone said they don't know who their fathers are. Someone said the mother said they don't know the father. Someone said the kids said. And I'm saying the way they research and they come up with these stats, because they have a lot of assumptions. And when we read them in articles, they don't show us the pack and the whole pages of assumptions that they used to get to this. Because also these are surveys. They didn't ask all of us. So they take a sample size and they ask. And I'm saying in these stats, part of it is the child doesn't know who their father is. The mother herself may not be sure who the father is. But a lot of this data is collected through that, but also birth certificate, but also just asking.
No, but it's true what you're saying. Hence I say, I'm not only speaking from that.
Okay.
I'm not using the stats as the basis of my argument.
Sure.
I'm using the stats so that everybody can go look for themselves.
Sure.
But the alarmingness of the inaccuracy there is shocking. I'm speaking from just last year, November. She won't have a problem. But I won't mention her name. A daughter of mine, uyafika last year, right? Lo mntwana lona, she needs to reconnect nobaba and all of that, right? We contact the family. Ubaba says, no, mina anginangane Penuel mina. Ubaba uthi mine anginangane Penuel. Mbuzo ukuthi isibongo sakhe ubani? Penuel athi hayi mina isibongo umlotshwa. Athi yabona ke mina ngumbhele mina.
So kanjani kube ingane yami le?
Kanjani kube ingane yami? Umama wakhe bamthatha kimi ena 8 years. Now okay, bamthatha kuwena 8 years. Wayokhulela konina. For these 8 years beka ubani? Beka umlotshwa or beka umbhele? Now that today uzothi wena unangane ngoba le ngane kubhalwe emlotshwa on a paper. For the first 8 years ikhuliswe ubani lengane kanti? Ngoba uyasho nawe ukuthi ngimfaka isikolo lo mntwana, ngamenzela yonke into, umama wakhe bekahlala nami la endlini. 8 years. Now suddenly wena usena ngane ngoba iphepha lithe mlotshwa.
But we must speak about this because there's a pain in that, right? And let's
go to the pain.
The pain has to be valid.
Let's go to the pain.
We can't dispute it. I wanted to go through this whole thing of stats before you respond. So part of it is this. So I spoke about part of it being the birth certificate. And what I said to the politicians is we're not being honest as well, because a lot of these women, especially from the village and townships, will be told by UNES, don't put the father's name here because it's going to be more difficult to apply for a grant because they'll keep asking for the father's ID. Go tell the father, because I'll keep having to ask you for your ID. That becomes now admin, but when the stats pick up, it sees something else. Number two, the fact that the father was not at the hospital is one of the things they also quote. And I'm like, do you understand how different families act around birthing and those things? Uti, the man was meant to be there holding a hand, push, baby, push. We're not those people. There are different people where the man is not there. He waits at home. Kambo mama, no auntie, no sisa badala. They come back and they report. So the fact that he wasn't there at the birth and the mom didn't put the name on the birth certificate doesn't necessarily mean. The other thing I told him to look at is, besides the mom saying dad is not there, because she's afraid of if she says he is, because you're going to ask for his payslip and his ID. The next thing is, if this woman has a bank account, get a bank account and see if she's getting any monies you can't explain. Where's the money coming from? See if she's getting any e-wallets. If she's standing in a queue at ShopRite collecting money. If she's getting cash and going to, where is that money coming from? Because this same father who was never there somehow is sending e-wallets, is sending EFTs, is sending money transfer, is giving her cash for Ukrosa. But nowhere in the stats do you guys capture that.
On our way here, kudlale enye into la efonini. Ubaba Ndlovu. Ubuyile from la beka khona ke some years beka sejele and whatever, ubuyile ke manje ufuna ingane yakhe. Right? Umama wengane nangu uhlala kwaMzimela. Right? Uhlala noMzimela. Ukhulisa lengane kaNdlovu noMzimela. Iyavela ke indaba ke manje ukuthi no, actually even the house itself le kuhlalwa kuyo imali kaNdlovu. Ingane kaNdlovu, umuzo kaNdlovu, because uNdlovu wayejele waboshwa, uMzimela wafika wabusa. Uyabuzwa ke Mzimela, umuzi wakho wena unaso isitina kulomuzi uthi cha ngicela ukukhuluma iqiniso mina. Lo muzi lo ngithole uMagumede mina sekanalomuzi. Shuthi umuzi kaNdlovu. Right? Magumede naba ke lamadoda anenkinga bobabili, lo uthi umuzi wakhe, lo uthi uhleli yena la. Ingane yakhe umuzo kabani? Magumede Now, I was at a court one day, Pretoria High Court, lapha Central. Ngise court laphana, ngikhaphe omunye umfowethu lapho uyolanda ibail yakhe, imali yebail. So lapha ewindweni lebail lapha iline mos. There's this woman, young woman. She's busy approaching men, and she's lobbying men. Ukuthi no uhlala phi emina angifuni into ngicela ungenzi senze ingane. Right? I can come to you or you come to me, no problem. Make me pregnant and you don't have to be there. I want to apply for a grant. So this woman was actually looking for men to sleep with her to get her pregnant, and the man could carry on with his life. Yena she wanted imali government ye grant. Langkhula khona, I won't say where specifically because omunye uzocabanga ukuthi ngikhuluma ngaye. There was a girl, thina sikhula simazi, besithi umama wama steps. She had 5 children. So you could actually put a ruler labantwana ngokulandelelana kwabo. Do you understand? Uzala lo seka pregnant futhi, azala pregnant futhi. And I sent you something, man. Need phone yam khanya ngiboleka phone yam. I sent you yama picture izolo.
Yes.
I sent you something izolo, and these are realities.
Hey, you want to read this thing?
You want
to read this thing? Okay. No, please go for it. You can read whatever you want. And these are children ngoba lo omunye lo uzelwe ngo-2005. Please give context of the story. Just if you're not going to read
the story is young girls, young children. Like I say, one of them, Opalelento, it's on Facebook. You can look for it, but
sure.
But it's on Facebook. One of them, Uzelwe, the date of birth is 2005. This is how young these kids are. So by now, Lumtwana lo 20 years.
Sure.
Right. So kuluma nabangani bakhe la. My little sister and I have different fathers. Owakhe lecturer, owam into esabuphara. Right? Now she's going utini hayi sana umama. Now they're going through all of this. Uti umama, I don't understand the type yakhe in. Right. Lo grina uti yena gibo. Upilo. uthi bona kibo bayi-5 and all of them have different fathers. All of them. She's the only Xhosa kibo. The rest omunye Nigerian, omunye India, omunye Khaladi, omunye abamazi ukuthi yini. One mother, same house, 5 children, 5 different men.
Yes.
Are you going to tell me now and sit there and say men are to blame? These children are fatherless? Of 5 children, lo uti mina yamazi baba mnang, lo siyamazi baba kwe India, lo siyamazi baba. Those children are not fatherless. What was the mother doing? Because the question le uyibuzayo wena nalama stats, it all goes back to the question of parenting as well. Ukuthi man ngizwe ngithi last lana zingxoxa ngithi, you know, there's a driving license, there's a firearm license, there should be a parenting license. And there should be a sex license.
Yes.
Because now people are having sex for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
And bahamba kuzalwa abantwana yonke le ndawo. Now, am I saying mangiyindoda and it happens ukuthi ngihlangane noKidiboni bese ke ekujabuleni kwethu uKidiboni nangu ke manje sekathwele ithambo lakithi. Sekumele manje ngimthathe ngenkani ngimshada uKidiboni. Ngapha uKidiboni iphara. Iphara lo mntwana lo. Uyambona uKidiboni ukuthi kimaribusengi munato kai. Mele ngithathe mina umunato kai mina. O matalibo Maria. Yini migwanthi ya Pretoria. Ngimthathe ngimfake endlini ngimenza umfazi.
So that you don't meet the stats.
So that I don't meet the stats? No, fuck no. Ngihlangene kuphi naye uMata no Maria loyo no Josephina no Paulina loyo. We angithi besebe umnandini. Senzi ibhirima room. That's where I met you. And she was half drunk by that time. Angena plan, she needed 2 more isotropes. Ngaitenga mini 2 isotropes. And she felt that no, she can give it up. It so happened that she falls pregnant. Now I must be responsible for raising lo mntwana kaMadibuseng engamazi nokumazi ngihlangana naye eklapini.
She doesn't want to abort. I've said before, there's no woman that keeps a child where she doesn't want to keep a relationship with the man. Any
Or
woman
to
who's
get
not ready,
financial benefits
or some
from
benefit,
that
yeah.
stomach. And I'm not
because if
saying,
she doesn't want the child, she'll abort.
mhlawumbe ungathi ke une right yoku-aborta ka-aborte. Mina ngithi nix abortion. Mina ngivumelani ne-abortion bakwethu.
No, I hear you.
Uburasta bami abukaphumi 100%. Ngisase amarasta bebathi amarasta bebathi abalidli iqanda because i-abortion yenkukhu.
Oh wow.
So ngisase lapho. That's the abortion ziyathusa eSouth Africa, but sizofika lapho. The issue here is why are children fatherless? Mfoka Mlotshwa angifuni ukusounda engathi I'm attacking women or I have a problem with women or mina angibathanda abafazi. No. I love women more than cooked food, right?
Hey.
Women to me are like the sunrise in the morning. They make everything bright. Yabo bayazi nabo oh mama lapha ekhaya. Here's the thing about women. The reason why so many children are fatherless is because of women, not men. Out of 100 men, we could point out maybe 13 who are irresponsible men.
You're saying 13%?
Yeah. Out of 100 men, we could count 13 who are just irresponsible, abo fuckboy.
Over 80% are not. That.
13% and nakhona mhlawumbe ngiyayistretcha le 13% yabo fuckboy ke labo asibahloniphi thina abo David Beckham. Understand, asihlali nokuhlala nabo siphuze nabo ijini thina wasiyoxoxa no David Beckham into ehamba izalisa yonke indawo.
Yes.
You understand? Now, of the 80% esele
87
or 87% esele,
yeah,
amadoda angakhulisa ingane zabo is a 60% of the 87. There is a 60 or 67% of men who are manipulated ngabantwana.
I'm going to dispute that stat, but I'd like you to carry on.
No, manipulated ngokuthi ungizwe kahle nge-manipulation, where women use a child as a weapon.
Okay. You're saying 60%?
It's over 60%, 67 at least.
Sorry. I take that back. You're speaking about the children who don't have fathers in the home? 13% according to you, and this is just an estimate.
An estimate.
People mustn't go Google this.
Estimation.
Are reckless men.
Yeah.
And you're saying 60% of the remaining 87, it's where the mother is weaponizing the child.
Weaponizing the child.
Okay. Sorry, I take back the challenge.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking of something else.
The 20% that's left are men who actually want to, but their children are pinned to the next man.
Pinned in the terms of stepfather or paternal or false paternity.
Ingane zam.
Yes.
Uyazi intombi ukuthi ingane yami kodwa ekamlotshwa. Umlotshwa wazi kuyingane yakhe.
And you are aware of this?
Mina ngiyazi ukuthi ingane yakhe.
But you're not telling anyone?
Akangitshelanga yena. Umama. I don't know I have a child with you.
Oh.
With her. You know you have a child with her, but she knows it's actually my child.
Okay. I thought you were saying the guy is aware that the child is his. Okay.
In most cases, naye nami ngiyazi ukuthi nginengane naloya muntu, but I can't say anything because ngiyomosha umshado wakho.
So men keep that to themselves.
Yeah, I choose to stay away.
Because maybe
umama ungcengile ukuthi ndoda ngishadile, ngeke ungimoshele umshado wami. Chances are umngani kababa. Lo ngithisile. It's my husband's friend. It's my husband's cousin. It's my husband's neighbor. So please, ayingaveli le ndaba.
I wanted to add to what you were saying. Sorry, just to add to the stats again. There are women today who are getting sperm donors.
Oh.
So that confuses things. Number one, I'm raising it in the context of what you were saying of women going around asking for children. So the sperm donors, which is a bit more formal, I can almost respect that. It still messes up a lot. But then there are women who want to fall pregnant but are not telling men that I want to have a baby. You meet her, Kiribone, you never see her again. She was looking for a sperm donor.
And ukulahlisile ne? Wangena phakathi ngoba kumnandi.
I had to take ama-estropes. Now bushama savana.
Now bushama, nami ngidla amasavana wami nejini. Ngene lapha ngingabhekanga, ngingafakanga namathebana.
Sure.
Ngingafakanga amajazi.
You didn't exchange numbers, you don't know who she is, where she's from, nothing.
Ngathi shaqa.
She's fine raising the baby.
Ngithola umuntu inyawo zakhe ezibheke phezulu uthi she's making sure ukuthi lento ayiphume. Inyawo ziphezulu. Mothi hayibo wenzani uthi no, I just like to exercise. Unamanga uKiriboni.
Yes. She's making sure.
Gwinya lento yakho. You don't know her ovulation periods. You don't know her cycles. Yena uyazi ukuthi isikhathi sami sokumitha lesi and uPenuel uyanya ngiyamthola namhlanje.
Prostitutes and slay queens who also fall pregnant, and sometimes you don't know who the kid is, or she was looking for convenience for herself, maybe not even the child. And then she falls pregnant. And then also with the fatherless, I wanted to mention, and this is very big in America, a big conversation, the number of black men that are in jail. Not necessarily because they are criminals, but because the system has forced them into crime and then punished them.
Yeah.
So that now there are no, because in those percentage, in those numbers you gave, the 13%, 60%, 20%, part of those are the father is in prison. Therefore.
Yeah, therefore. Beg Mlotshwa.
Sorry, Baba.
I know a man. Ne? Angifuna ukusho igama lakhe. I know a man.
Angeke simkhombe.
Yeah, singamkhombi.
Sure.
Singakhulumi ngabantu.
Sure, asingakhulumi ngabantu. Kodwa nami ngathi ngiyamazi.
Yeah, I know a guy who has 3 kids. Raising the 3 kids. With a mother, ongekho like endlini. Right? And I know this guy that he takes care of his kids' school fees, yonke into groceries and yonke lento de. And this guy just recently heard ukuthi umama wengane uthi yena she's not going to contribute anything to abantwana because she wants that guy ezwe asafare, he must come begging her. Right? Now you have to ask yourself a question. If people can actually make that decision, yoguti, I'm deliberately not going to contribute
To punish you.
to punish you. If the tables were turned,
Oh,
if she had the children on her side,
come on, Baba.
what would have happened?
You almost never hear of men asking mothers for maintenance. Ever. The assumption is just by her existence, it's enough.
It's enough. No, and she says it with the arrogance of, no, the law is on my side.
Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, nothing's going to happen. Now, what happens if the tables were turned? Right? How many men are in prison for maintenance, for failure?
Yes. It's getting worse.
For failure.
Yes.
I was at the court last year and I was actually quite happy that day because in ngikhulume nenye advocate lapha uthi no, they are trying to change the law now. Since last year, late 2 years back and early last year, they started to implement ukuthi if a woman is not contributing equally, makaboshwe naye. She's equally liable. Ngathi at least you are trying to change something here. Ngoba bafowethu baphelile ngama maintenance weingane engingasiye zabo worst of all.
I saw that. There was a stepfather in Cape Town.
Hey,
They're getting divorced.
Zabo.
The biological father is contributing. The mother works. But the stepfather is legally being forced to continue contributing even though they've split.
So this fatherlessness and we have to actually look at. Yes, man. Yes. Siyapeta singamadoda Penuel siyapeta awuthami siyapeta. Yes, singamadoda siyapeta. But I cannot masturbate into a toilet paper and give birth to a child.
Correct.
Let's be factual now. I cannot masturbate into my garden and give birth to children in the garden. Abamili njengamakhabishi labantu. Yes, siyapeta. Ntombi bowufunani wena konka ngo12:30 midnight.
No, there's never accountability from women.
Bowufunani konka ngo12:30 midnight.
There's no accountability. Even when they're allowed to abort because they have agency, when they keep the child, there's no accountability.
Thing is, then the issues will never be solved.
Yes.
Because the guilty party is always innocent. I'm telling you as a traditional healer, as a nyanga, as a person who's had to help so many people. Ngithi back 10 years, ngithi just last year. I'm a case wo mama. Umntwana nangu, umama kafuna ukumtshela yazi omunye umama uze wathini kimi. Ngamane ngife.
Yes. I've heard that live.
Mina life, wangitshela life.
I've heard it
ngamane ngife.
couple of times. Ngamane ngife.
Umntwana ufuna ubaba wakhe. Ngamane ngife.
I've heard that. Educated woman, by the way. I've heard it from.
Yeke leyo ke. Educated, financially stable.
Yes. Can't tell them anything. I don't even need your money. That was a sperm donor deal. You just were not informed.
Besithini endleleni? Besikhuluma manje on the way. Ukuthi bheka la. This is shocking, ne? Iphi lento? Iphi mkhathi nayi? 51% of the wealthiest homes in South Africa. Only 51% of the wealthiest. Now, this is statistics again, not accurate, but from 2021. 51% of the wealthiest homes in South Africa have both parents. What happened to the 49? So 49% of the wealthiest families in South Africa don't have both parents in the same roof. And on 21% of the population's 20% of the poorest. So in 100% of the country's poor, 20% of that, which is the poorest, 21 of that percent has both parents in the home. The rest is either mother or father. But only 4% have a father only. Only 4% father only. Now, even in the wealthiest homes, Papa is not there, Mama is not there. Even when Papa and Mama are there, Papa is living in his study, Mama is living in the bedroom.
Yes.
There is a summer side and a winter side. Mama lives in the summer side, Papa lives in the winter side. It's divided into two, it's so big. And the parents never see each other. The children see the parents because they run around the house like this.
Sure.
But these two never see each other. And they don't want to see each other because the marriage ended the day Mhlawumbe they moved in, asaz. But it's a facade they are trying to keep up. So now, these statistics are going to be very tricky if we're going to look at the government and how they look at it. I'm speaking from a humanistic perspective, Yoguti. Women need to be called to order. Women need to be called to order. Recently, just last year, man, there was a woman on social media, Otiena. She loves her children, but she hates being a parent. I love my children, but I hate being a parent.
I appreciate her honesty, by the way.
No, she's very honest, Yena.
There are many women like that.
No. I'm not Yena ukulume iqiniso yena.
Yes.
I'm speaking yabona yena ibhodlela elinamanzi.
Sure.
I'm speaking about all the empty bottles abagcwele lapha eSouth Africa who are punishing our children, who are mistreating our children, ill-raising our children, traumatizing our children, getting back at us ngabantwana bethu. I'm speaking to those women. You have children, but you hate them. And you see it acted out in how you speak to these children, how you raise these children, how you treat these children.
Yeah.
A lot of children, excuse my French, are fucked up by their mothers out there. So many girls and boys, worse boys. Because when they grow up to be men, they fucking hate women.
Yes. Because of their mom.
Because of their mom.
Dad wasn't around, and everyone says, "Oh, dad wasn't in the home," but mom was there.
Mom was there. Mom
You should be fine.
No, kanjani umama
there's-
bekakhiphela anger ngobaba kimi.
There's no toxic masculinity. There's no masculinity. The woman got to raise the
There
child.
is no masculinity at all.
Why is the child broken?
Why is the child broken?
Because ukhuliswe umama.
Why is the child broken?
We don't want to have that
Uphulwe yini?
conversation.
Uphulwe yini?
Criminals have a bulk of people that were raised by single
No,
mothers, but we don't want to ask the
impact
question.
of fatherlessness, no. Bangene emajele labantu. They become delinquents.
So the conversation is always fatherlessness, I'm saying.
The
And
conversation is always also ngithi asiyeke yobo fathers namhlanje. Let's call women to order.
Which is what I'm saying. The conversation is always the bulk of people in jail grew up in a fatherless home. But we're not having the conversation. If they ended up being criminals, what was mom doing
Umama beke kuphi
to get them there?
Bekenzani mama?
Yes, father was not there. Ubaba somshaya, ubukuphi? Let's find out.
Okay.
But you were raised by umama. What was mama
Wena
doing?
bowukhona 24/7.
How did this child become a criminal? Ukhona.
Bowenzani?
I want to add two more things. One, another reason why fathers are not in the home, not necessarily your stats, but when people look at the different articles, polygamy, polyamory, where whether it is healthy or not, but ubaba can't be in all the homes at the same time. And when people get asked questions, it's my dad doesn't live with us, but they're not explaining my father's a polygamist.
The dynamics.
My father is polyamorous, and maybe the mom is not doing that.
Yeah.
We can discuss that
But
deeper
now,
another day.
This is why I say we cannot call that fatherlessness.
We shouldn't call that fatherlessness.
It can't be fatherlessness.
Yeah.
Ngoba ubaba akekho namhlanje la ekhaya.
Kodwa ukhona ubaba la ekhaya.
Ubaba siyamazi la ekhaya, sonke
100%.
siyamazi futhi. And mangifuna ukumthinta ubaba ngiyamthinta
Nangla.
ubaba. Hey
Yes.
baba, esikolweni badinga i-textbook yani. Okay mfana wami kusasa hamba uye Shoprite uyothatha imali ngiyifakile.
Yes.
All right, ngiyifakile ku-account yakho. You can't say that's fatherlessness.
You can't say that's fatherlessness.
You
But
know?
some people would, by the way.
No, but then they're crazy.
That becomes a conversation. The other one becomes damages. So I wanted to say this when you were speaking earlier, because you were saying we need to blame women, we need to hold women accountable. In many cases, not all. I tweeted something at some point saying, we speak about fatherlessness, we speak about men running away from responsibility, we speak about many things. What if we started punishing women for falling
The
pregnant?
one who gets pregnant.
What if damages are paid by the woman? So that they tell you at home, if you ever fall pregnant, sizokushaya
And
and kuzokhokha wena. So it's up to you to keep yourself low. If you fall pregnant, it means you are raped.
Okay,
And now we're going to put the boy in prison.
Mlojo,
But if not,
you are
you're going to get punished.
You are running the risk of being ridiculed. You are running the risk of being insulted as a madman if you're going to have that approach.
Yeah.
I sort of agree with your approach, but as I say, running the risk of being called unsangwe no better.
100%.
Right? I believe this in terms of inhlawulo and these damages nonsense. And I once said to you, Guti, inhlawulo mina namalobola, I believe that's a crime, you know? And this is the crime. Ngimitise urilato. Right? Rilato now is pregnant with my child, and urilato ngihlangene naye mhlawumbe esikolweni, varsity level. So ngihlangana no Rilato evarsity, siyathandana, siyazwana, kuba mnandi. But uRilato sihlangana ku third year, right? The first year mayifika la uRilato, ufike wathandana no Penuel. Wajola no Penuel, and she used to spend most of her time in Penuel's room. Now siyazi ke evarsity nkosi yami, nihleleleni ekamereni nibukele incwadi. You understand?
His study session, his cell group.
Yebo, is biology. So now, after that, wahlukana no Penuel, wafika uSizwe. Hey, wamthatha naye, but that didn't work out. Kwafika mina ke on her third year evets, right? Sahlangana. And all these years ngikhona ngiloko ngiyambona naye uyangibona, but ayihlangani lento yethu. On the third year uyangiqoma. Kwenzeka ukuthi kube mnandi kuhlala isiso.
Yes.
Right. Nango ke umthembu ke ubaba kaRilato ufuna inhlawulo kimi.
Yes.
For ukuthi mina ngimoshe uRilato wakhe.
Correct.
uRilato mina engimthole kuSizwe no Penuel no Jabulani nobani. Inhlawulo nani should be looked at very, 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 very honestly.
Yes.
Because ngizofika kwakho and ngikhuluma namadoda ko baba ke. Ngizofika mina kwakho ngizolobola ingane yakho ngoba ngiyithandile. Ngiyithandile. Regardless of history yakhe ngoba ngiyamazi yimo groove naye awukho wena masgroove no Rilato. Awukho wena la ngihlangene khona no Rilato khona. So you have no right to sit there and act as if you are selling me a pious, pure piece of gold. Right? So ungazongihlawulisa ngathi uyahlanya la. Ungifuna 30,000 for ingane yakho. Ingane yaluza ivirginity ena 14 years esikolweni. No memo no menier we science. Nganguphi mina? Where was I when your daughter first lost her virginity in high school? Now you want to put a ridiculous charge on me?
Wakhipha nezisu in first and second year.
This person has probably aborted nokwabhotha lo muntu lo. Ama miscarriage khona lapho. Now ufuna ukuhlawulisa mina what? Ingane eyintombi eyake yalala nomfana ingahlawuli ingalotsholwe. Ayisalotsholwa, iyadabukelwa, iyazwelwa, iyacelwa kibo. Kuthiwa kufihlwa ihlazo. Uzuqonde ngesintu kwakuye ubaba omdala oshonelwe umfazi. Kuthiwe awuye lapha kwamlotshwa kunengane lapha eyangena esondweni lengubo nomfana ingekalungelwa. Awuye lapha kwamlotshwa uqoqe nomlotshwa mhlawumbe.
Uyobasiza bafihla ihlazo.
Ungabe umsizi hayi ukuthi wena uyosizeka.
Uyosiza bona.
Uyosiza bona. And I've said this before. So many girls right now are unlobolable.
Boom. Not worthy.
I mean, ayengivule sakithi sibaya for uRilato. Engihlangene naye konka. angeke mina, and I love women, mina ngiyasifuna isithembu futhi ngiyasithanda isithembu, nabafazi abayi-1000 ngingabathatha mina, nginawamandla.
Solomon.
Uyangi-understand? Kodwa angeke ngokuthatha intombi mina uhamba ulengisa amathanga wakho emain lane. Penene bese ufuna ukulotsholwa yimi. Do you know who I am? And this is not status or celebrity in dignity. Do you know who I am? I'm a man who respects himself. That's who I am. Now, if you want to be with me, start to respect yourself, sister. Start to behave like an empress, like a queen. And then I'll treat you like one. No, these men are dogs. They treat us like shit. Yeah, because you live in a toilet. Pume toilet. Get out of the toilet and start living in the lounge, in the living room. And then we'll treat you like more human. And bazongzonda, uzozwa ama-comment la, ya, uyasinyela lo. No. Ntombi zithande.
Bantu abangazwani namaqiniso.
Zithande. Love yourself. Uhleleleni nam for the past 3 years. Angithembisi nokuthembisa umshado. Angikhulumi nokukhuluma ngamalobola. I've got no ambition of marrying you. You are an extended booty call. Wena. Esi-official uyisikhaftini uyitapaware. Yazi kunale ikhaftini ze-ice cream. Abantu ongabafuni la endlini ubaphakela kuzo noma sibuyanga unandaba.
It's fine.
Kodwa itapaware. Ayiphumi la endlini. But mawudla isapha udlela eplatini udlela kwitapaware. That's what you are. Uyitapaware, a permanent kaftin. Zithande. Love yourself. And I'm saying this as a guy, as a man, as insizwe shelayo futhi. Ngike ngashela enye intombi lana yathi isaqoma le ntombi ngithi before uqoma ntombi. Before uqoma asizwane la. Mina nawe sizoba ne-6 months contract yokujola. After that ngifuna ukuya kini mina ngiyokulobola. What that's moving too fast too soon. Ngathi yekela ke ntombi ungabi saqoma.
So basenkingeni mina now.
No, ufuna ukungenza i-boyfriend for more than 6 months. Ngibe i-boyfriend yakho mina.
Kodwa ngikuhloniphe after that.
Ufuna ngibe i-boyfriend yakho mina. For more than 2 years ngiyi-boyfriend yakho mina. And then after all of that, we've been through fights. Sengibone bare ngibatswana bukowa. Sengibone nama-weakness wakho. Nokungcola kwakho. Sengazi nokuthatha kukamama wakho. And then ufuna ngikushade. Ngikuthathe ngikusekhaya. Nomalume wakho isidakwa.
So damages, one of the things we need to consider is shifting it to women so that they take ownership and agency. Because the reality is that
her virtue when she fell pregnant.
No one punishes women. No one charges damages to women who abort. But as soon as she decides to keep the child, regardless of how you feel as a man, you're the one that gets punished.
How about ngiyamithisa ulrilato ngiye kibo bathi okay inkomo zale damage i-15,000 ekhaya sivume sithi okay 15,000 nayi sibeka la etafuleni on our side ayingane sibeka la nayi 15,000 ntombi when did you lose your virginity? Hayi omunye umfana wakwamkhize asiqaleni kwamkhize ke baqale bayohlawula isibeletho sakho.
Sure. Before we get to us.
Before mina uthole le yami asiyele kwamkhize siyohlawula amadolo wakho kuqala. Uyokuphula amadolo mina ngikwenzanga next. Ngifike mina sowuphansi. And this is going to sound very belittling to women. Yes. No, it's the truth.
Well, it's what culture, it's the way they interpret culture themselves.
No, that's their own problem.
I'm saying if they don't want to accept that, then they must say we don't believe in virginity, we don't believe in intawulo.
Okay.
But if they want to play that game, we must go to what that game actually means. They can't interpret it the way they want.
Uhleli nosibongile wena for the past 6 years eflatini lapha eHillbrow. 6 years. Uyakuphekela uqinela ukuwashela nama-underpen wakho. And then suddenly ngiyaqabana or you move to Germany. Ngihlangana nosibongile mina eTexini. Sekumele ngimshade ngibhadale full lobola ngomuntu ebehleli noSpenuel 6 years. angazi noma uPenuel bekamlengise esilingini or ambambisa amashandilier or emafridge. I don't know what Penuel was doing to this woman.
Or what this woman was doing to Penuel.
Or what this woman was doing to Penuel. But I always say this. Once ngahlangana nentombi sathi kuba mnandi, what if fuck me harder? Hayi ntombi mina ngiyona rapist. Who was fucking you harder? Why manje ufuna nami ngiyenze leyo nto? Angifuni mina untombi ka fuck me harder. Traumatized ntombi is either you were raped as a young child, you were abused, or your partners were treating you like a piece of shit.
And now you want me to play at that level?
No, but this is how you understand love. This is how you interpret intimacy. Fuck me harder. Hey ntombi, wo. Immediately ngehlika mina ngiyazigcokeza kithi impahla ngiyaphuma. Angiphinde futhi ngene mina kuwe. Angiyona rapist.
Choke me, daddy.
Hey. Put me against the wall. Oh, ntombi,
I'm
not a gladiator. Asilwi la.
I just want to emphasize this last point on the fatherless. And again, we're probably still also not doing it justice. We're still very at surface level. But many reasons why fathers are not seeing their kids is because the girl, in however she moves and her family, are denying a man access to his child because the man is unemployed, just as she's unemployed. He doesn't have income, just as she doesn't have income.
Okay.
And they're demanding...
His unemployed status is greater than hers.
Oh, it's fine. But because he can't afford damages with his family in the socioeconomic space we're in, they feel it worthy enough to keep this child away from the father.
Yabona Mlotshwa, nke ngathi umshana wami ugangile lapha komunye umuzi lapha kwabanengane. Ngathi ngena kulo muzi lona ngafika kunekhehla lapha. Le khehla leli said something to me, and to this day I respect that old man. Lithi le khehla leli, oh, uwe umalume walomfana ongithukayo la kwami. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Uwe umalume walomfana ongithukayo la kwami. Uthi ngikhathele mina yile inkamba ezigcwele la ekhaya. Lokho zithi mkhulu engazi nokuthi ziqhamukaphi. Let me say that in English. This old man said, I am sick and tired of these little insults that keep on calling me grandfather. So do you know what this man is saying? All those children are insults to him. He does not recognize them as grandchildren. Do you know why? None of them are in their father's home. They're children of daughters here. None of his sons gave birth to these children. His daughters went somewhere and brought back these children here.
I wanted to add this. We're going to close off soon in time, but I think I need to make a point for us to sit, I don't know, next week or the week after, because a lot of these other topics that we both had are very burning. We haven't even touched on parenting. We just touched on it a little bit, and youth issues, and I mentioned Trump and colonialism. So I think in the next few days we must sit again. These are some of the things, if we're serious about solutions, of which I know I know our leaders are not.
If we are serious about ngicela uyiphinde Mlotshwa leyo uzowenza ibillboard uyibhale. If we are serious about solutions, these are the issues we need to tackle.
So I didn't get personal. I wanted us to get personal, which we must do because it's important for me, because I'm accused of creating fatherless homes, and I'd like us to be honest about.
Let's touch on that.
No, we can't. It's kata ngeke sivume because it's a deep thing, and it's personal for me because I need to accept.
Are your children in contact with you?
Yes. Well, almost all of them.
And are you active in their lives?
Almost all of them.
And being active is not like Ula every day.
Yes.
Keeping up with their progress, it contributing to their lives. Then you can't say your children are fatherless.
So we need to explain it in depth because it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
And the reasons why we're like this.
And there are reasons.
And I need to get attacked. I don't mind because this is not ideal, the way I'm living. It's not ideal. I know that. And then to also speak about the mother's sides and their agency and their ability to live their lives. We didn't touch on that. We didn't touch on the family structures, which we need to fix and what that looks like. And we didn't even touch on the African concept of being a father and what that means, because that's also not being discussed in these stats. What does it mean to be a father in Africa? Is it taking your kids for ice cream, teaching them how to ride a bicycle, helping them with homework, or is it something else?
I wish my
And
son
we need to have
was
this
here,
conversation.
Because we pendula leyo.
We need to have, and then leadership, which if we're not fixing this thing at family level, because it's so broken, then it must be fixed top down, of which some of our leaders themselves have got broken homes.
They are traumatized.
We can look at, I apologize.
13 by exile.
I apologize, and we're not going to get into it. From your Nelson Mandela, divorced, children of different women, to Thabo Mbeki, unfortunately, I don't know his dynamics, but apparently he had a son somewhere, I'm not sure.
Before.
You've got your Jacob Zuma, I won't mention Khalima Mutlant, your Jacob Zuma, where he's been divorced, lots of kids, lots of mothers. How present father or fatherless is he? You've got Cyril Ramaphosa, who I think has got children with 3 women, if I'm not mistaken. He's been divorced. And so from the top, and then we go to traditional. Misuzulu right now is struggling with his issues. His father had a wife who also, so our leadership and the role modeling that they play for the rest of us to emulate, as we're not going to get to that today. I wanted to say this as a solution, and then I want you to be free to close off the way you want. In a country where our tax money goes to child grants, which I believe are 570 per child per month, that's about just over 6,800 per annum. And that's just the child grant. There are other benefits. A paternity test, I believe, is 2,000 Rand, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe we could get it cheaper in bulk. Some people could get it more expensive. The cost of 2,000 Rand versus almost 7,000 a year. The mom with the child should not be able to access a grant
without a paternity
until a paternity test, and we know who the father is. What is the father doing? Where is he? Is he aware that he has a child? Let's get him involved, and then thereafter we can speak about a child grant. Come on.
Intombi my pregnant. Yes, yafika ekhaya nesisu. Ayiye straight to police station valelwe ejele. This is me. If I was president, immediately ngibona ukuthi ingane pregnant, ngiyayithatha leyo ngane girl child, ngimvalele ejele. I-sentence yakhe ithi 15 years. Non-negotiable. I mean, the evidence is in your stomach. Yini negotiate ejele court. Akuna defense lawyer ezokudefend. Na into yakhula esiswini. Your crime is you are pregnant and ushadiwe. Awunamuzi. You are still under your parents' guardianship, and you are pregnant. 15 years ejele. Right? Kuleyo sentence yakhe. Mhlawumbe 15 years yahash ne. Sit 5 years. 5 years ejele. Kuleyo 5 years yakho ubani baba ka walengane. Hayi usibusiso. Okay, sibusiso. DNA test. Yathi negative plus 5 years ntombi. Kusho ukuthi wena uleli nalo nawusibusiso futhi. Biza. Hayi okamsisi. Oza ke negative enye 5 years sesifika buyele back to 15 ke manje. Uzozuyikhipha ukuthi hayi okamthembu lo mntwana. Okay Mthembu. Ingane yakho le. Kungani ungavelanga uzoyikhulisa? But before you answer that, ngena phakathi 5 years.
It's a must. Umthembu has to get in jail as well.
Yeah, 5 years yakho umithisile.
Ungamithisa ingane ungayishadanga?
Yeah. Awuyishadanga 5 years.
Come on Mthembu.
Phakathi. Nihlaleke leyo 5 years yenu ningaphakathi. Lo uzohlala i15 years yakhe ngoba ufake no Penuel, wafaka no Abba, wafaka no Bantwana. Right? Leyo ngane ke from the moment it's born iyathathwa isiwa kubaba kaPenuel. Hayi kuPenuel. Angithi lo umkhize. uPenuel umkhize. Uzozala abantu uPenuel umkhize.
Yes.
So lengane there is no excuse yokuthi umntwana akalazi ikhaya lakhe or akakwazi uke ubaba umphikile.
It's the same seed.
Obaba bakhona le.
Yeah.
Thatha lento uyibuyisele kwamkhize.
Mango.
Yezwa, lahlela lento le kwamkhize bawubona umkhize ukuthi benzani. Mabangayifuni nabo thatha bona bangene ejele.
Yes.
Nikhulisa indodana kanjani kanti?
Yeah.
Ihamba izalisa ingane zethu la estradeni. So in my opinion,
but you were also saying before damages get paid, there should be a paternity test.
Before even ilento le grant le yakhona le iphuma. Government ngifuna ukwazi I grant mayiphuma kumele izosayinelwa ubaba nomama wengane.
You'll find out the father's a politician.
ngithi mina
That's married.
kumele kuzosayina ubaba nomama.
Yes.
Angiyikhiphi imali kungasayinanga two
You
signatures
cannot.
here.
Because you could be defrauding the state.
Yeah,
The father could be working fine.
exactly.
So to avoid you and the father defrauding us, we need to see both of you and what you guys are doing
no babi.
in your life. Kanti uyasebenza.
Who?
Utagiwe, you don't deserve a grant. This child's got a father that works.
No baba umntwana unobaba osebenza.
No, we don't know where the father is. Then we can't give you money. Because maybe the father's a billionaire somewhere.
Yeah, ambodla imali kababa wakho kini angithi umithele kini.
My closing shot is this thing of surnames. I just wanted to go quickly as far as I can. For at the most shallow level, not where we are, but where we sort of were when the colonizers came, and a surname had a big deal to do with where you are based geographically and who is raising you, the culture, the lifestyle, the beliefs. So if I would be Umlotshwa as a child, it is because I'm being raised by Umlotshwa on his land, under his Sutu culture, his Xhosa culture, whatever, so that when I go out into the world and I say Umlotshwa, they know exactly where I'm located. They know which man is my authority figure, my beliefs, etc. In a situation where girls would fall pregnant, not married, and this child has to be raised, Umlotshwa would take ownership of the child as his, which is why when you say that the mother's surname, you actually speak about her father taking ownership for a child that's not his. And what girls today don't understand when they're like, it's my dad, I'll take the child as my surname, is if this child is being raised in your house as the girl, number one, you don't have a surname. That's not even your father's house. You don't even know who your father was, maybe.
Yeah.
The child's surname is meant to be the seed to what you are saying. And the seed could not have been your father because your father didn't impregnate you.
You, exactly.
And your father is also not raising this child. You're still claiming maintenance from this guy.
Okay.
The child is still visiting this guy.
Okay.
Every woman knows that a child is theirs by default. No man knows that a child is theirs. And the only identifier to the world is the surname. And what women don't understand is if you give this child your father's name, this child could belong to any man out there.
Exactly.
And society should look at this child as if it belongs to anyone. Where if you say, no, I'm Mlotshwa, even if you're lying, everyone knows when the child goes out, that's Mlotshwa's seed.
Exactly.
Your own family, you're not committing fraud and a crime.
Confuse moti umtwanako wagini. Because now your surname, your child's surname is the same. So what? Did your father or your brothers impregnate you?
It has to be the only way.
It's an insult to your family.
It's an insult.
It's an insult to your family. And this is not me saying, yeah, children who were raised by their mothers. No. I'm saying, going forward, we should try and fix this thing.
Because we're trying to fix.
We're
not trying to
we're not blaming
hurt
the
women.
past. No.
We're not shouting at women. We're not oppressing women. We're saying, women, you're saying you have a problem. We're saying here's a solution.
This is it.
If you are serious about fixing.
If you want to fix it, it starts here. Ayiqale ngokuthi ulala nobani njani ngabuni. You understand? This thing yokuthi sibiza izinto ngesilungu and we in the modern time, we're just killing ourselves, honestly. Siyazibulala. Umntwana akakwazi ukukhulela, like the only identity a child has is his father's identity. Yeah, we can go to the XY chromosomes and the biology of the womb and all of that, and but the actual truth is, ingane engena ligibo, ayina foundation. And that child is going to be bound to be taken anywhere by the world. And the biggest issue here is not the seed, is the soil. Men are not the problem. Men are part of the problem. But men go out, sishele. Kuqoma wena ntombi. Bese ungifuna ice petrosin, ice tropez. Bese ungifuna ice tropez. And then your only obligation to return that ice tropez is to get down. You understand? I was taking a chance. And I'm not saying amadoda, hey, good, yeah, big up. No, nizinja.
Wrong. It's very wrong.
Nizinja.
Yeah.
Nizinja. Angikwazi ukuhlala stele emizini yenu niyakhile. You understand? But motherfucker was taking a chance. You, women, allowed it because of your own ambitions, because of your own dreams. Omunye lana bamthembise ukuthi no ngizokwenza i-general manager yale company. Nge-function ye-end function yasekhampanini ethizeni bamthembisa i-position. She slept with the CEO. Ekuseni bambizela i-Uber bathi hamba. Akayitholanga naleyo position. And she didn't like the guy. She didn't want to sleep with the guy, but she slept with him because she was promised the position. How many women allow themselves to fall into that?
They still blame men. They don't take accountability.
How the fuck do you blame a man because you came to his office?
They say it's power dynamics.
No. You came to his office. You could have said no and stood up and left.
Yes. You could have said no.
You could have said no, stood up and left. And I'm not sitting here ngikhulumela amadoda enza lezo zinto. Those are predators. Those are the weakest type of men you can find out there.
Yeah.
A man who has to buy a woman. Hey, iyephi speaking frosta now Tiam.
Come on.
Awazi ukuyishova. Aw Cinderella uthi ngibheke lapho relato. Aw relato wami madoda. Aw robot lami elishayina ebusuku nkosi yami mabona. Hey man ukuphelele umlomo wakho kwazi ukukhuluma. You have to open your wallet. That's the weakest type of man. I don't respect that type of man.
Any closing remarks before we shut down?
Closing remarks. Eish. Ulento esikhulume ngayo man wena mfoka mlotshwa is serious. Uyeke nje ukuthi sikhuluma comically maybe thina. But this is a very serious issue, you know.
The deepest issue we have, especially in the black community. We fix this.
We're done.
Everything else gets resolved.
Done. Yeah. We're done. Speaking about colonialism and politics and white people took the land and white people did that, we're just wasting our intellectual time and wasting our intelligent muscles in our brains. Na inkinga. Let's fix our families. Asiqaleni la endlini. Sibone ukuthi ke in future how do we move forward? Because right now we're plucking feathers from a dodo and that bird is extinct. Ayikho lento siyenzayo. Siqhwandele emva. If we can fix this thing, if women could remember their social status as queens, as goddesses, and men could remember their status as kings and leaders, mhlawumbe soqala manje sikhulume enye into. Hayi lento le nonsense yo colonialism this, slavery that mlotshwa akaze kwaba nama slave kini awuthiyam. Asekhaya akaze abakhona.
Yeah.
So we can't sit here, mina now, and waste our intelligent muscles speaking about slavery. And the mina now is Lili Lamlocha. We speak good English. We went to white schools.
Hey.
We can't speak about colonialism and the ill effects of white presence when we are reaping the benefits of it. Me and you drive cars. We can't sit here and pretend as if we did not benefit from the modern world. But we can sit here and speak about how we can move forward as a people in this space we are in. How do I speak isiXhosa in English? Just last thing, a funny story. NgoDecember bengisemsebenzini kamfoka kaQwathi uZwayi.
Yes.
Bekakhulisa umfana wakhe.
Yes. Look, congratulations to Uzwa and his boy. I was meant to be there, Blue Water Bay. I was invited as well. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. With the mother of the boy as well, Melanie.
It was beautiful ceremony there, you know, beautiful ceremony. Now, somebody posted a video on whatever, TikTok or whatever, ngibonisiwe. And I'm speaking to these boys. Umfana kazwayi no nalumfana bekangene naye who is a cousin. So now dithethe isiXhosa nabafana. But now I'm noticing ukuthi okay, somebody is translating for this boy. Yabo, no izobandekele ukuthi ngithethe and translate. Let me speak English because both these boys are going to understand English.
Yes.
And then you know what your South Africans said? Yeah, sekukhulunywa English manje esibayeni sekuyalwa abafana ngeEnglish bakwethu. Mangithe suka ne and then ngithi move out the way. and then ngithi skif. What difference did I say?
The essence is the same.
The meaning is the same. So wena ngoba wena ufuna ngichaze wena. You are missing the point ukuthi the message was not for you, egotistic fool. It was for this boy who does not understand what I'm trying to say to him. NgesiXhosa. So I'm making it more palpable or palatable for him in English.
The essence.
The essence. Ingqikithi. Because ndizosithetha isiXhosa esintsonkothileyo wena qala ungandiva.
It's a fact.
Wena qala ungandiva.
That's a fact.
So we are focusing on irrelevancy more than relevancy because in relevancy we are lacking. In irrelevancy we are excelling.
Number one.
You understand? We need to prioritize what is important in our lives, in our mind space as South Africans, you know. We need to decide, is it better to have a 3-quire book of empty pages or a 2-page book full of knowledge? And you know what South Africans love to do? They chase the empty 2-quire.
Yes.
And they say, just 2 pages ngizoyenzani. But that's where the knowledge is. This is a loud book with nothing inside. So we need to come back and decide, sifunani kahle kahle singabantu? Are we entertained by these wonderful concocted ideals and narratives? We are victims of narratives.
Fact. Story.
We don't want the truth. We don't want reality. It's like if I would say that uyinza Azanzolo, the great emperor of the Xhosa, was a colonist. Do you know how many Xhosas are going to go up in arms against me? But then answer me here. Why kunamabhaca, kunamandebele, kunabesuthu, kunamamfengu within the Xhosa nation? Speaking is Xhosa, dressing is Xhosa, culturally expressively is Xhosa.
Identifying as Xhosa.
Identifying as Xhosa. Were they not colonized by Uyinza? Could I say the same ngoshaga? Could I say the same ngomzilikazi? Could I dare say the same ngosikhukhune? Could I say the same ngomrengoni evenda? Dare say the same ngomukhatla? How many other houses are under Bakhatla but they are not Bakhatla? How many other people are under the Xhosa conglomerate but they are not Xhosa? So now, is colonialism when it has a white face and when it has a black face? It's development, it's expansion, it's narratives. We are battling narratives. I understand. Now, lesi kuluma of fatherless children, it's a narrative that's being pushed to vilify and to demonize men.
Specifically black men.
Black men, to make us as if si irresponsible. It's a narrative when the reality is total opposite. So, asiyekenele narrative and start to speak realities. And then maybe we can have answers to our questions.
Abba Ayalew Amlak, the Grandmaster of Abakhalipi, Bokhanya, Usilo Samanzi. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's make this happen again in a few days.
Yeah, man.
Because it's very important and this is the work that's actually going to transform the nation. Ngiyabonga, Baba.
Asabet. Give thanks.